Welcome to the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy of America's Facebook Live series. I'm Bob Bianchi, the first National Vice President, and it is really a great honor to bring, we've got great guests. We've had amazing people. We've had superstars in the world, but today we've got somebody even bigger than that. Kendal Apalucci from the first all-female lodge in New Jersey for the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America. And so we decided to profile her here with all the great guests that we've had because she's our superstar. She's the young generation. She's a beautiful woman. She's got some great ideas. As this lodge is so powerful and so prolific right now, we felt this is our future here. So let's get her on the show and ask her how it was possible that she did all this. So we're going to get to that in a minute. I want to introduce my co-host, Mary Kovacs, that's with us. Hi, Mary, and Justin Smith from our national office that's in Washington, D.C. We do so much, the Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, in terms of our charitable millions and tens of millions of dollars given, our scholarship programs, the wounded warriors, giving vans out to veterans, not to mention preserving our Italian culture, and for the young people, offering them opportunities for scholarships and internships and business connections. There's so much to this organization. And while COVID's a horrible thing, we haven't been going down. We've been rising stronger, and Kendal's a perfect example of that. Mary, let's ask. I know that you were instrumentally involved in getting this all up and running, and I gotta say, and we're gonna get to this question, Mary, this lodge is not only doing great, they got people knocking on the door trying to get in, but they've got a little bit. They're being a little, Mary, they're being a little bit like, you got to kind of prove yourself before you get in this lodge. Mary, take it away.
Well, bougie. Well, Kendal, thank you for joining us tonight. It's so exciting to have you.
Thank you.
My first question, why did you choose the name Mother Cabrini for your lodge? And is there something in particular that drew you to, that drew your attention to her?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, Mary, because when we started this lodge, we were told that it has to, be an Italian, somebody famous or somebody well-known. And you actually sent me a beautiful article that you wrote on Mother Cabrini. And as soon as me and my vice president, Deanna Masholi, read everything, we said, this is the perfect person. This is the perfect woman to represent us. She fought for gender equality. She was actually the first American nun. And she also was like such a powerful tool for immigrants coming from Italy to America. And all of us wouldn't be here if it weren't for help from people like Mother Cabrini. So it was an easy choice, but it was definitely thanks to you. So thank you so much for sending that.
Happy to help.
So Kendal, let me ask you, what was it that caused you and your crew, which usually starts out small, to make a decision to join the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America? What attracted you to this organization? And moreover, why are so many young people knocking on the door to come in?
Right. Well, we're from a town in called Hamilton, which is in New Jersey. And most people don't know, but it's at one point, it was the most Italians per square mile. So we grew up in this town where, being Italian was like the best thing. And we just loved our culture. We loved tradition. And there was a lodge called the Sons of Italy who did so many great things in our town, but they were an all-male lodge. So, we all had an uncle or a dad or a cousin, somebody who was in one of these lodges. And us girls were always like, oh, well, we wish we could do something. And I was sitting at dinner with my dad and mom one day, and I said, I wish that I could be a part of a lodge or something. They said, well, we'll make one. And I said, all right, let me see what I have to do. And it was as easy as that. I mean, the people were knocking down our doors. Everybody seemed to always want to be a part of something like this. And, once we got the ball rolling, it was just overwhelming.
But before Mary asks her next question, what is the demographic, would you say, in terms of, well, we know it's all female. So you kind of got back at your brothers over there in their all male lodge. Good for you. We know it's all female, but what about the age demographic, and how many people do you currently have in the lodge?
I know that we have over 75, and honestly, the age demographic is, we do have a lot of young people because it's a lot of our friends, my girlfriends, but their mothers are also involved. And, just like you said about the Sons of Italy, it's all the daughters, the wives, the cousins. So it's people who have always wanted to be a part of something like that. So it really is just a full, plethora of people. We actually, my grandmother was our oldest member. She was 97. She just passed, but then we go as young as 18 because that's kind of the cutoff. But it is, we have a lot of young people, and, but still our moms, our grandmoms, everybody's involved.
Mary?
I love that. What are some of the things that you do to promote the lodge within the community?
So word of mouth has been huge for us. I mean, that's how, when we first wanted to create the lodge, we just kind of started texting each other, started seeing who it be and wanting to be a part of it. And after that, we went to social media. Facebook has been huge. And then we also have a member who's a part of our Hamilton Gazette. So between the newspaper and Facebook and just, word of mouth, we're in a small town, it just exploded. So.
Kendall, we had Joe Piscopo on the other day, Jersey Joe, and we had 10 things that, New Jersey has to always battle about: sauce versus gravy, pork roll versus Taylor ham, does the Jersey Devil really exist, and all these kind of things. But you've done something I think maybe even more impressive than who claims to have the best meatball, because we know that could cause a catastrophic fight, literally, when people are talking about their mother's meatballs, because every son thinks his mother's meatballs are the best. You actually accomplished something that I find to be extraordinary. You wanted to start a cookbook, and you went around and asked people to share their recipes, their coveted, their little ingredient, their little something where they'll go so far, but not tell you that extra one or two thing, like never make a meatball without fresh parsley. As one of those coveted things, but you got them to do it, to share the entire recipe. How did you accomplish that?
Well, when me and my vice president came together and said, we really want to do a cookbook with everybody, but we know how Italians are. They like their secrets. They like, even if you give the recipe, you hold on to one thing, and, you don't want anybody to make it as good as you do. But when we were at our meeting, we kind of just said, like, listen, if you don't share your recipe, it's going to die out between, not giving it to the next generation, or a lot of generations are dying out. So we said, you can either not share your recipe and then it end, or you can share it and be on everybody's dinner table and actually have a little excerpt about you and about your family tradition along with your recipe. So I think that was our biggest selling point, was that you're not only giving your recipe, you're giving a little background behind it, and you're giving the credit where the credit's due. So
One of the most hazardous things I've ever done in my life was judge the meatball contest down in South Jersey last year. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it out alive. Mary.
So you started your lodge actually in 2020. How has COVID impacted your lodge?
Well, it's kind of all we've known. So we started it during COVID, and our first meeting was on Zoom. And ever since, we had one meeting in person, and then kind of COVID came back. So it really hasn't given us too many hiccups. It's really been great. And I think that we have almost an advantage because we started during COVID. So we didn't lose out on anybody. If anything, I feel like we can only gain members going forward.
Kendall, we haven't, anybody's invited to ask questions, and I know we do have one, but I'm just curious, before we get to those questions, can you explain the quote unquote value proposition as to why your people want to be a part of this, especially the younger generation? And what is it that the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy is providing back to you that the younger members are attracted to this organization?
Right. Well, like I said, living in Hamilton, we all grew up, and being Italian was the best thing. And we just loved our culture. Our town actually has the longest Italian festival running in the country. So everyone kind of just wanted to keep that tradition going, wanted to keep our history going. And it's also a place for us to gather with our family, with our moms, grandmoms, so between the social part, the charity part, because we've been helping so much in our town. I mean, people just really wanted to be involved. We were very blessed in that aspect. And in return, I just think that we keep tradition going, which is our biggest thing for all of us. That's all I want to do.
Excellent. Excellent. Justin.
Yeah, before I get to my question, I do want to, you're making quite the impact, Kendall. Our national president, Nancy DeFiore Quinn, has written in that you are an inspiration. So I just wanted to share that. Mark D'Annunzio has written in, and he was wondering, what do you use as a criteria to welcome in new members?
So in the beginning, it was open to anybody, but now kind of because we had such an overwhelming amount of people that wanted to be involved, we said that you have to be sponsored. So somebody in the club has to sponsor you, and you're only allowed to sponsor one person every 3 years. So now it's kind of getting a little more exclusive, and and we still have a great number of people that want to be involved, but they kind of have to just work towards it, or either show up and be a part of our organization, volunteer. So criteria like that, but it's hard because even just on Facebook, we have people from New York, we have people from all over asking if they could be a part of the club, and it kind of stinks that now you have to be sponsored. So
Good problem to have. Anything else, Justin, for now?
And at the moment, no.
Okay, Mary, you're up.
What activities have you had to date?
So because of COVID, we haven't had too many activities, but we really have been kind of focusing on the charity part. So for Thanksgiving, we were able to donate 10 Thanksgiving meals to families in need in town. Our biggest thing that we're trying to really accomplish is helping our town. So I think that's also a selling point to a lot of our members is we want to help in Hamilton with our families, with people that are in need. So between Thanksgiving and then Christmas time, we adopted 5 families. We put out a bunch of, cards to veterans. We sent trays to our local police, firemen, hospitals. We just really want to make an impact. So with everything that we're raising, with all our money from our 50/50s, we're trying to use the money for good stuff. And that's another selling point, why not?
Well, it's amazing that during COVID you guys started, so you really haven't had an opportunity to get up and running, and yet you've been able to use your opportunities to be able to help the community. What's the prognosis going forward? Where do you guys want to see yourselves when hopefully we come out of this pandemic?
Well, honestly, I guess our biggest thing, we just want to gather together, have a glass of wine, talk in person. I mean, we still on Zoom, we have so many people that attend each meeting, and, it's all interactive, but there's nothing like sitting across the table and, speaking to one another. So I think that we're just so excited for this next chapter where we can actually do fun things, together.
Yeah, excellent. Sure. Mary?
I don't think anyone would deny that you've done a phenomenal job with this. So what advice would you give someone who is thinking about starting a new lodge?
I would say do it. I mean, it wasn't so much to say difficult as it was, it brought so many people together. So anybody who wants to do this or even is thinking about it, take the leap. You wouldn't believe how many people are going to be interested, and the relationships that I've built from this, the people that I've met through this organization, everything. It's just been overwhelming. So anybody, I would tell them absolutely go forth with it.
Right. And with regard to doing that, you apply and you got yourself a charter, and then you had to be, accepted into the organization. And how have you felt the response has been from the Grand Lodge? Just so everybody understands that's out there, you have a local lodge, and then you have a Grand Lodge for the whole state, and then there's the national organization. How have those folks responded? Because I can tell you on our end, everybody's like extremely impressed with you guys.
Oh, definitely. I was actually just talking to a couple people about this. We have had so many people reach out, and for no other reason than just to congratulate us, to form a relationship. I get things in the mail sent to my house because people are so impressed and just happy that this lodge was created. So between the Grand Lodge, our president Mark, and everybody, they've been wonderful. New Jersey's president, Nick, and then Nancy Quinn, everybody has just reached out to us and have been there through every step of the way. They're always an email away, and you can call them. It's just been very easy, and the communication is great amongst this lodge.
Awesome. Mary?
Mhm.
So you're actually able to issue a couple of scholarships already, and sometimes that takes a long time for other lodges to come up with the funding and whatnot. Can you talk about how you raised funds and how you promoted it for application?
Yes. So our latest fundraiser was a 50-50, which actually another club in our town wanted to help us and get our name out there. So we're so grateful for the Rotary Club in Hamilton. They paired with us and we did a 50-50, which we raised so much money. And the biggest part of, all of us women, we got together and said, we want to help the students, especially during this time. I mean, half of the kids are on virtual. Some of them don't even get to see each other in school. So we wanted to make sure that we could do something that would, help the students at this time. So that's why we raised the money for scholarships. And Hamilton has two different schools, two different high schools. So we did $1,000 scholarship for St. Joe and $1,000 scholarship for Hamilton. So we're super excited about that. We're really starting to get the ball rolling. And we kind of made the criteria for that, just that you either have to be of Italian descent or at least be interested in Italian culture, because that's kind of what we all are. We're just so interested and we want to keep the tradition going. So we can't wait to see what students get awarded these scholarships.
Kendall, a lot of times people ask, how do we get younger people involved in organizations like this? Like, what is the value proposition I was talking about before? What would be your advice to those who are watching right now as to how to attract the younger people? What messaging works in your mind?
I really think social media is huge. I think that, people scrolling, they say it. And I think just asking the younger people, a lot of people think, oh, they don't want to be involved. They don't want to give their time. I mean, it was crazy to see the amount of people that were willing to, donate their time, donate their money, donate everything just to give a helping hand to somebody in need. So I just think you have to ask. I think that, they kind of count out the younger generation sometimes and think, oh, they wouldn't be interested, but we're living proof. We definitely are.
Mary?
You've actually had some fundraisers for some of your merchandise, and I have the mask actually right here, and then I also have a t-shirt. Do you want to share a little bit about how someone can purchase some of your merchandise?
So same thing with social media. We kind of keep everything on social media right now. We had a great, big merchandise sale when we first came out, and we're also going to be having another big merchandise sale for the July 16th, which I kind of hinted upon. We have an Our Lady of Mount Carmel festival, which I think this is the 146th year that we do it in Hamilton. And it's the longest running Italian festival. So we're going to be selling a lot of merchandise and a lot of goods there, but everything that we will sell will also be on Facebook. So we're just a message away.
As far as your social media is concerned, can you tell us what those platforms are? And is there somebody that's in charge of that? Is there a certain messaging that you want to go out, or is it just random?
It's me and my vice president, and we have our secretary. We have a couple people that are involved with the social media, but my vice president, Deanna Masholi, she is great about getting back to people in a timely manner. So you can always private message our Mother Cabrini, or you can email us, which our email is on there. Email is great because at least we, get to have something instead of a little icon. We get an email, and we usually get back to you as soon as possible. So that's probably the best way to reach us, is through email.
Excellent. Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kendall, you mentioned that, a lot of your fathers, uncles, brothers, cousins are involved in the All Men's Hamilton Club. Do you guys have any plans to do any activities together? Are there anything, I know they're doing virtual as well, but in the future, in the hopes that we get out with vaccines, are there any plans to kind of cooperate together?
Well, definitely, we hope so. The president, he gave us his blessing when we started the club, and then they actually invited us to their Columbus ceremony. So it just is very bad timing right now, but we're hoping to, pair up with them soon. Especially the 16th of July is like their holiday. The Sons of Italy has always been a huge part of that in our town. So we're excited to see what they do as well.
Absolutely.
You got another one, Justin, or you want?
Yeah, absolutely. I have another one. someone wrote in and was wondering, do you guys have a, once we come out of this, do you guys already have a physical location set for meetings, or is that something that you're going to do, at different locations throughout Hamilton?
So we did have a lodge that we were looking into. And then because of COVID, we said, it's not the best time to get a place. So we will be doing different places around Hamilton. I actually use my house a lot of times as a meeting place because between outside and inside, we do have a good amount of spots, but we want to make it interactive. So we want to be able to, have one of our meetings and go to dinner, have one of our meetings and go to a winery. So that's what the plan is for now, just kind of, keep it around town, stay local, and also give business to the people in town.
Absolutely. Food and wine. I think you'll have plenty of people joining you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mary, what do you got?
Well, real quick, I just wanted to piggyback on Bob's last question. Can you share what your social media handles are so people can follow you?
We actually just have the Facebook as of right now. We do want to work on an Instagram account, but it's Mother Cabrini Lodge 3003. So if you look that up, and it's also tagged in a lot of the Facebook interviews that you guys posted. So hopefully people can get through that.
Okay.
So Kendall, given your experience so far, what was the thing that you least expected by joining the organization?
That's a hard one. I guess really, I didn't think it would take off like it did. I mean, when I was thinking of making this lodge or trying to at least, I just texted a couple of my girlfriends, they texted a couple of their friends. And for our charter, we had over 90 something people sign up. So we were just astonished. We never thought we'd have that many people. And then once, the dues and everything came, we still had over 70, 75 people sign up. So I think just the outpouring of support, and even the people who said that they, wanted to be involved but didn't want to join, we've had things donated to us. We've had things, sent over, just people that are trying to give a helping hand. I mean, it really shows that our town is, interested in helping and always there. So I think that was something I didn't expect. I kind of thought we'd have like 20, 30 people. So
Before we toss to Mary for one last question, you said before we were on air that you were helping, and I just love this, and I think this is really so important about the generations coming together. You were helping an elderly person figure out how to use Zoom for the first time, and then you got something in return. Can you tell us a little bit about that story? Because I think it exemplifies everything the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy is about.
yes, definitely. I got a phone call one day from a president, I think of Turnersville, and he was just the cutest man. And he was asking me, I've heard you had so much success in your meetings, and we have a lot of older people in our lodge that don't want to meet, so we want to do Zoom. And he asked me for his first Zoom meeting if I would be a guest host. So Reynard Petronzio, thank you so much for even thinking of me. And I was just, going to do it just to help out. And then I got a gift in the mail of multiple Mother Cabrini books. And it just shows that, the people in this lodge, in this organization, they're all there to help you when you need it. And, they're always there. I mean, I have been completely blown away by the amount of support that you guys have all given us. So I'm so excited to read those Mother Cabrini books, and I am excited to help them on their first, Zoom meeting.
I want to let you know, while you were just speaking, and I think that's such a great story, Mary texted me. So she wants me to go into this deep, dark space that we are about to resolve. I don't know if you're probably not aware of this. The Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America national organization is finally going to finalize once and for all gravy or sauce at a trial that we're having. I will be presenting on one side. We'll have another lawyer present on another side. We're going to have a judge, and everyone that's on can participate with their vote as a jury. But she wants me to ask you, where are you with that now? Understanding, well, let me hear your answer first.
I'm going to have to say sauce.
Okay. Now, I understand you have not been given all of the competent evidence to have made that decision. So,
True.
but you still will have an open mind during that trial.
Okay. I will.
Is that okay? Yes.
Yes. I will
Excellent.
try.
Excellent. All right. Mary, do you have anything before we conclude?
Just one quick question. What's your favorite part or your favorite thing about being Italian?
I think it has to be the food. I think the food and the family, because I've never met, other cultures and other, people. I mean, us Italians, we care so much about our family. We get together for Sundays, for dinner. It's always, your family's always there. And the best part is there's always food. So I'd say those two things are my favorite thing about being Italian.
Absolutely.
I was going to list for you, Kendall, all of the greats that have been on our Facebook Live series that we have on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, but I know I won't remember them all, so I decided not to go down that perilous trap. However, you are now part of the history of that. If you could, Justin, please close up by telling us what's next week's show and where people can find us.
Absolutely. So next week, we're going to have Sharon McCarthy on. She's the VP of Wine Education from Banfi Wines based in Tuscany. And if anyone is interested in becoming a member of our organization, you can head to www.osia.org. And you can click on the member tab and you can find the nearest local lodge to you or become an at-large member directly online. If you have any questions, send us an email at nationaloffice@osia.org and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. And go ahead and give a like to the Mother Cabrini Lodge 3003 on Facebook.
Well, that, guys, about wraps up. I want to thank you, Kendall, so much, and Mary and Justin for always the great work that you do. And this could have been no better show, in my mind, to show how it is, how the younger generation and the older generation can support and help one another. We hope you guys have a great, healthy, and safe week. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Be well.